A year later, the song fits. Can the Tigers win 69? They've won 3 straight, swept the World Series hopeful New York Mets. And with Scherzer and Verlander in town, it could have been a painful reminder of what once was. But now we're looking ahead, Rico. Better days ahead. It's a beautiful day. We've got a beautiful weekend. And if your kid's not playing sports, you can enjoy all of it. Sorry, David. All of it for the rest of us. We'll talk a little Derby later in the hour. Can we get an update on who's actually running this thing? They've scratched like 4 horses. We'll make some selections. We'll have a little fun later in the hour.
3 horses.
One horse euthanized one.
Yeah, one horse just will not be there. Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. That's how it works.
Nah, they had to euthanize him.
Circle of life. Something like that. We'll have Who Said It at 4 o'clock as well. We're going to have some fun on Friday. Rico, you said, hey, let's put it out there for the optimists. For the people who are excited, this is an opportunity for the Tigers between now and Memorial Day to take their record and flip it, to have a losing record and turn it into a winning record.
Right. It's possible that, by the time we hit Memorial Day, this team, right now, they're 13-17. They just finished sweeping the Mets. They're not going to be playing any AL East teams,
Isn't that the craziest stat?
Right.
2-14 against the AL East, 11-3 against everybody else.
So it leads me to wonder, you're going up against teams that are beatable, where you can win series. And I know we've already written this team off, but this could be a different outlook. We said, look, can they be interesting? Mm-hmm. They can be interesting at the end of the month, where if they're above 500. And I think, I'm not even going to say 5. They should be above 500.
I think so, too.
You got the Cardinals. You got the Cardinals that's sitting at 10-22. The Guardians losing record, 14-17. Mariners losing record. You got 2 games with the Pirates. Still don't know how they're doing that well. You got the Nats losing record. You got the Royals losing record. You got the White Sox losing record.
Put it this way. Between now and Memorial Day, only 2 games are against teams with a winning record. They're going to play half those games against their division, which dog doo-doo.
Right.
They're in a position to take a losing record and turn it to a winning record. Now, will they do it? We can discuss. But the opportunity to do it is there. They should, in theory, if they're halfway decent, they should have a winning record on Memorial Day. Right. The last time, by the way, the Tigers had a winning record on Memorial Day, you got to guess?
2013?
15, close.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's part of being interesting, is being relevant, competitive, taking advantage of an opportunity. This is a soft month of May.
I mean, because after yesterday's game, we kind of just was like, so what? You swept the Mets, real good. You're losing. But then I kind of broke down the rest of the season on the laptop last. I was like, a month from now, we could be saying something totally different. Don't get it fooled. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series, folks. But what I am saying, we all wanted just an interesting team. Just something to root for. Something to get our hopes up. You may get that by the end of the month. I don't know how the season's going to go, but by the time we hit June, you could have the Tigers on the plus side of 500.
Are you buying in? Not necessarily to the team, but into the opportunity. Will this team have a winning record by Memorial Day? 248-539-9797. Are they getting you to buy back in? Rico, Riley Green's on an 8-game hit streak. Hit a home run the other day. Javi Baez, 20 hits in his last 17 games.
Ever since that benching.
Ever since the benching, he's hitting, and now he's hitting for power, home runs back-to-back days.
You got Eduardo Rodriguez out there just dealing on the mound.
Your best guys are leading the way. Eduardo Rodriguez, I heard you guys talk about it yesterday. He's going to put him in a good position come trade deadline time.
Here's the other thing. You kind of, fingers crossed, let's keep hoping that Javi Baez keeps doing his same. You may be able to walk away with maybe 3-4 prospects because these guys, they're going to opt out. Go ahead and let them do that. But, I'd look at this team and I don't know if Tigers fans have really been paying attention because we all just kind of said they're going to be bad. We had the song, Can They Win 69? By the end of this month, they could have a winning record. It's set up that, you're going to play 2 games against a team with a winning record. That's it. And they're here.
Yeah, back-to-back against the Pirates. Everybody else has a losing record, and it starts this weekend in St. Louis. Cardinals are 10-22.
So
You go take 2 or 3 against them, and at the end of the month when you're facing the Royals, who are atrocious, and the White Sox, who have stumbled all the way down near the bottom of this division, you take 2 of 3 against the Royals, 3 or 4 against the White Sox. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You have a winning record. That's how quickly things can turn. Now, do they have the guys to pull it off? Because it's one thing when you play bad teams, but those bad teams are also going to say, we get to face the Tigers. They got a losing record. Rico, this is the one thing that has me just pausing for a second. As great as Eduardo Rodriguez is, he's looking over both shoulders going, anybody else going to pitch with me? Tigers starters, not named Eduardo Rodriguez, ERA is 6. It's like 5.9 on the season. So we got a bullpen that is
like when the Tigers play anybody outside the AL East.
So when you throw anybody not named Eduardo, you're taking your bullpen that's below average and you're stressing them because your starters aren't going deep. Bullpen's got to fill in the gaps. And when they do it back-to-back days, that's when things get a little squirrely. And do we feel like we got a team that can win softball games? No, even with some bats heating up, I don't think they're winning softball-style games. Where are you at as a Tiger fan? Let's go to John. You're up first. You're on 97.1.
Hey, guys, heard it here first. Not only they turn it around, they're in the playoffs. Their division's garbage. They have some arms that are coming back, and they have some hitters. Heard it here first. Tigers will be in the playoffs. Thank you.
Well, hold on. Before you hang up, John, what's your response to the starting pitching thing I just laid out where they have one arm?
No, he dropped the mic.
Oh,
He said, I'm
okay.
done.
All right.
That's it.
All right.
Kenny?
This is a dumb question, but this division is really, really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy is it to think that maybe we could take a couple division series and not make the playoffs, but even be still interesting around playoff run season?
Kenny, here's the thing.
Is that insane?
It's going to sound insane, but here's your perspective. Remember when your boys, the Lions, were like 1-6 or something, and I came on here and said, you guys can win the rest of your games. It's set up that way. You go out and you win this month, you're putting yourself in a race because the division is so bad. What's so funny?
What are you doing? David's got his hands in.
What are we doing? What are we doing here?
No. David.
What are we doing?
Kenny has a legitimate question.
I'm not predicting it to happen,
No,
by the
no,
way. I'm just saying,
David.
is it an insane thought?
David, the Rays don't play in this division.
Oh, you're right.
Okay?
The Orioles don't. We can't beat them either.
Trust me when I say we're going to have this same conversation in the fall with the NFC North. It ain't a great division, but somebody has to win it. But it comes down to if you could finish this month off and you're above 500, you're in the race.
So,
now where it goes, I don't know, but you're in the race.
Is the question, will they fall somewhere between Red Wing car flags and Detroit Lions down the stretch? Like, can we get somewhere in that territory where they hook you in, they ultimately don't make the playoffs? Kenny, isn't that what you're asking? Can they be somewhere between the moment
Kenny's asking the question that everybody's afraid to ask. Kenny just flat out said, can they actually make the playoffs?
Can they be interesting enough late down the stretch? The way that the Lions were interesting down the stretch where you're thinking
But the
there's
Lions
a pathway.
But the Lions didn't make
They
it.
didn't make it, but there was a
There was a
pathway.
path. The
for them to
Wings
do
had
it.
a path. They didn't go down the right path, but they had a path. The Lions had a path. They went to Carolina and they detoured, and then they lost their way. For the Tigers, you're not that far. Now, trust me when I say you're not winning it. I don't think you're going to win the World Series.
To the playoffs.
No.
Yes.
To say what, David, when you look at this month coming up, this month is, if you could turn it around and win games this month, you've now extended your season at least until July before maybe it falls apart. You fall down the hole this month, it's over. You're done. You're not going to be as easy as it is right now.
You made fun of me pre-show because I put in the notes, Jolt for June. You thought that was stupid and cheesy. What if I throw a different alliteration at you? Make believe May. Doesn't mean it's real, but could they go out and do something in May that we start to make believe that they're a good team? And then Kenny's over there going, hey, How about your playoff-bound Detroit Tigers?
You know what it becomes? I like that. They become interesting again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of a sudden, you'll see people go to the ballpark because they're not a joke. Because, okay, you got some of your young players actually doing something. This month, you're right. If you blow this month, then yeah, it is all make-believe because it won't be as easy as your next opponents that you have coming up. If you can't get above 500, then, yeah, just start selling off as many parts as you can.
But isn't that going to be where this goes? If they have the May that's set up for them and they have a winning record into June, they'll hover around 500 approaching the deadline, and decisions are going to have to be made. I heard you guys talking yesterday about Eduardo Rodriguez. It's a real conversation. If you don't think you're a World Series team and he has an opt-out, you trade him. Now, I don't think fans will take that well. And it sounds like fans would go kicking and screaming to trade away a quality arm. But Rico, that's the other thing. They might be in it in name only and be forced Scott Harris to make his first big decision. If he keeps this thing together to try to win a lousy division, probably going to fail and lose Eduardo for nothing.
See, I think Scott's smart enough to know that, yeah, I'm not trying to keep this together. If a deal is there to be made, I'm going to make that deal. And for Rodriguez, you want to make the deal sooner than later because he's going to opt out. So a playoff contending team is going to give you more early than they will late when they're just like, yeah, we're only going to have him for like about a month. So, no, you'll get some A-ball player and be happy with it. Whereas you trade him as soon as the trade deadline starts, you may be able to get something in June for him. But I just look at this. They're right smack in the middle of the division right now. You're about to play teams with losing records except for the Pirates. If you're going to make a move to make this year interesting, then now is the time. Now, Kenny, how far can it go? I don't know. You got to get out of this month first. We'll retackle it again in June, but make it because if you fail this month and you have a losing record, then, yeah, this season's done. You're over because it won't get any easier than it will be right now.